Yo, 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 what is going on, people? Welcome to Throwdown, episode 359. I'm your host, Tony Polanco, and tonight I'm joined by Emilio Lopez,
What's up, people? How's it going?
Carlos Romero,
Yo, yo, yo.
Adam Vale,
How you doing? How you doing?
and Brian Manjoma.
I beat the farmers this time.
I was about to say, man, you beat the farmers, man. You beat the farmers. What is going on, people in the chat? Yo, Pig Dan, we started right on time just for you, man. I saw you yelling in there, you know. Can't be having that.
Where you at?
Where's the throwdown at, man? Shit. You know? Before we start, I think I said this on Sunday, but I'll say it again because the episode. Ooh, Piggy Dan already blessing us with the bits.
Bitty
You know?
bitties. Tickle bitties.
By the way,
Shout out.
I totally forgot we got to do the November giveaways. Probably start on Sunday. Your boy's been busy, man. I keep forgetting about shit. Shout out to big shout out to Danny Pena. I was on Gamer Tag Radio. The episode's actually available now. It's up live. And it was just him and I talking about a bunch of random stuff. Like it was like a Seinfeld episode, basically. You know. But we brought up cloud, we brought up cloud gaming, and I know he anchors it with his review of Forza 5. I believe it's out, Horizon 5, available on Game Pass. You know. No, we're not giving away another PS5. If we can't find one, bro.
Yeah, it's kind of
Yo,
difficult.
man.
We would,
man,
but
yo,
you
yo,
can't
man,
find
yo.
one.
Man, give me a PS5.
Yeah, we'll give one to me. Nah, you're like excluded because you're part of the crew.
I'm part of the,
you know.
I'm part of the last generation.
What do they say? It's like something not qualified, or you know what I'm saying. But yeah, you're not qualified, unfortunately. You know.
Well, it could be that, or it could be on principle. We can't give Manny a console because there is nothing that he wants to play on that
Yeah, that's
There
true.
you go.
There's nothing to play, so he can't have it. You know.
Can't have it.
They don't have a Metal Gear Special Edition. Then Manny would buy it. You know.
Nope.
Oh man. All right. So hopefully Chris will show up. We didn't hear word that he wouldn't be on tonight. So I don't know. We'll see. And Brad, I'm pretty sure he's watching Eternals right now. So you know that always happens when these Marvel movies. I'm not interested. And it has nothing to do with the movie or the cast. I just think the Eternals are boring. They've always been boring. They've tried to make this comic book work for like decades. Never works because the characters are boring. You know?
Yeah, the Eternals are not like top of the food chain sort of characters. They're always try to reboot them, and they always are not very good. So it's like, I mean, to be honest, most people when they would probably hear Eternals, they probably think of the
Humans or something. I think of that sci-fi
another
FX
Jack
series or some
Kirby
shit.
crazy thing.
Another crazy Jack Kirby thing, you know, cosmic shit. But again, I feel like one of the biggest issues with the Eternals is they're not even relatable.
They're not at all.
These fucking weird, like, you know, space beings that they're unrelatable to normal humans.
Yeah, like I'm currently reading the latest Eternals book, and I'm like, the art's nice, but I don't care about these people, you know. And that's the same way it was when I read the Neil Gaiman run. There was a couple other runs in between there, by the way, Manny. Like they keep trying, it just doesn't work, you know.
Yeah.
Here's the thing, because you know, I think the logic. I know we shouldn't be talking about movies right now, but whatever. Like the logic is like, hey, we made Guardians of the Galaxy work. There was something there with the Guardians of the Galaxy, like that new version, the movie version that you see was the latest version of that comic book, and it was actually doing well. People liked it because it has a cool cast. You got this big freaking talking tree. You got a raccoon that has guns. You got this hot green girl. You know, it's like you got this beefy like green dude. It's like that works. You know,
there are a lot of interesting shapes, and also they sort of recontextualize at least for somebody like Drax the Destroyer, who wasn't. They essentially made him like a comical Mr. Spock, right? Where he has no sense of humor. He doesn't understand sarcasm and stuff like that.
Yeah,
but
but you're right. It's like at least they're all relatable. They're even if they're aliens or human. These fucking Eternals are like. I don't know, man. And again, I'm not basing this off the movie. I'm basing this off the comic books, and it seems like the movie is very true to the comics in that way. Unfortunately, hey, there he is. There's Chris. Perfect. Because Chris, we knew we got to have you. We need to have you for the first two segments. If we didn't have you for Elden Ring, we're going to be screwed. you know, because the rest of us
I'm
would
about
be
to
like,
cut
cool,
out. I was like,
you
I'm
know,
out of here.
yeah, we out of here, man. Don't throw it down this week, man.
I
You
got
know.
the cough.
All right, man. So let's get into it, man. First topic of the night. Elden Ring gameplay. So they revealed like a 20. It wasn't like straight gameplay. I mean, it showed you gameplay, but it was like a 20-minute, video of.
Yeah, it was
So we're gonna play for you right here. Hope we don't get flagged. You know.
Yeah, it's a 20-minute video, but it's got like little breaks in it where it shows you little bits of gameplay. So let's look at what Carlos is up to.
I mean, we could talk about what we saw for those of us who saw it. You know, Chris, I guess you could lead us off. You know, Elden Ring. You know, what you think of what was shown?
Well, it's interesting to see like they went more open world because even though a lot of people call like Dark Souls and Bloodborne and stuff, it's not really open world. You're in these guided paths. You can't just run anywhere you want, and you certainly didn't have a mount. That was interesting to see the guy riding around on a horse or whatever he was riding around on.
It's like a cow or something.
Yeah, I couldn't tell. I was like forced, but
cow.
I thought maybe it was a demon horse, but it could be just a cow. And so that was nice. That the scenery was beautiful. Reminded me of Sekiro a bit. We're in the areas with a lot of water or forest. That's what it kind of looked like. There was I think he fought some giant dragon, which
Showing it right now. Yeah.
Fucking dragons and Dark Souls, man, it's a pain in the ass. It would be interesting. I would like to see some more of the weapon arts and the magic and what they have in there. But a lot of it felt familiar. A lot of the combat looks familiar. So I have to wait and see. Like I like that they showed it finally, but what I saw besides the running around the world and then some fights is like, oh yeah, it's the same, but it's like I really just want my hands on it.
Yeah.
Yeah. One thing I saw was really cool. I actually can't see the video right now because something's up with it. Everybody's video is off right now for me. But one thing that I thought was really interesting is that essentially when you're in the open world, they have those dungeons. It's almost like they created the world in between all the dungeons that you go into. So like, you know how like you go to the different worlds and in some of the other games you just kind of warp there. This one is like they made the space in between going there too. So like when one point he goes into a castle and there's like two different ways, and then it just becomes the classic sort of Demon Souls, sort of idea again, where you're in like this sort of intertwined castle that has all kinds of different areas you could get into.
Yeah, right here he's like beating up on a rock something.
Is it the giant like a bowl? It looks like
a
bowl.
Yeah.
That section is where he's you meet different little NPCs in the world, and that's like this giant. I guess he looks like a monster, and he's like, "Oh, can you get me out of here?" And you just whack at him, and he flies out of the part. I wonder if you're like overpowered, right? If you actually could kill that guy.
Is this like the movie Never Ending Stories, like all those fantasy type weird things happening? Is that what this is?
I mean, it's like a medieval. It's like any one of those Demon Souls and Dark Souls.
Yeah, it's just like that.
Those games
expanded.
It's just when he described, I need to get out of here, and he whacks him and just sends him flying to where he has to go. Is that a way to fast travel?
Map? Okay, that's interesting. There's never been maps before.
Yeah, there's never been maps, so that's a first. But the weird thing is he looks out on the world and then the guy shows the map. But like Manny said, you can traverse there, Yeah. You don't have to like use and the old games use either the bonfire, fast travel, you had some item, or in Bloodborne you had the Hunter's Dream. It's like a hub and then you go to different places. Now you just go. Just travel. There's these. Your mount doesn't just get stuck if it encounters a cliff. There's these like wind springs. I forgot what he called it. That just shoots you up.
Right
so
there,
you keep moving. Yeah, and then so there's a theme with like world trees, but this is not just in this game. And they showed one right there. This is and every Dark Souls and Demon Souls game. There's this idea of like the world being supported by trees or trees extending into the heavens, or I don't know. It's a weird theme. I don't know if this game will explain it more, but it's in the old games. And you're just like, this tree's just shooting up into the sky, or you go underground and there's these giant world trees that are holding up, like supposedly holding up the world. And it's like, what does it mean? So it'd be interesting if this kind of dives into that, or if this world is connected somehow with the other ones. I don't know the answer.
I want to know what the what contribution Railroad put into this, George R. R. Martin. Because I'm looking at this, I'm like, I don't see any of that influence. I see pure Miyazaki.
Yeah.
I think there was an interview with George R. R. Martin actually about this, and he's sort of, it's like he writes something, and then it's like they create the sort of gameplay, and then he sort of writes the connection to it. It's weird. It's a weird sort of way that they're working. Yeah.
He put his name on the paper, and then they published it.
Yeah, pretty much.
Can we use your name? Like a name drop? Sure. How big is the check? A lot of zeros. Okay, then all right. We can do
this thing came out pretty fast though, so it's like maybe they should get Miyazaki to help him with the winter. Maybe we'll finally actually see
all
that.
Right. It's like
Who's taking 10? How many? Like 11 years now? Literally.
Look, he just visceral attacked that dude.
Yeah.
I mean, the combat looks exactly.
It looks exactly the same. Yeah.
So and then later he talks about co-op. Right, meeting players from other worlds and stuff. So,
that's tours. Yeah. What's up, Carlos?
The Sealy tours.
Yeah, the Sealy tour. There you go. Well, here's the thing. We're all going to be jumping in at the same time, so no tours.
Yeah, there's no tours.
So did they mention anything about fast travel in this game? Because we did see bonfires there.
That's the hit that Manny was talking about. I need to go somewhere, and it hits him, and sends him flying there.
Yeah, so I think
that was just an NPC that you were helping out in that section.
Oh,
I think they want you to experience going different places. There might be a fast travel mechanic, but I didn't see one. I saw the guy literally look at the world, then he looked at a map, and then he got on his cow or whatever and just rode somewhere. And
he put a beacon. That was pretty cool.
You can see beacons in the world now, you can mark different sections on the map where there are certain things, places where there's treasure and all kinds of other fun stuff.
I don't know, man. I'm looking at this. I'm like, I'm kind of getting less hyped.
Well, it's probably my stream. It looks
no, it's not that. It's not the graphics. I'm like Chris said, the gameplay is exactly the same, and I'm like, I already played 3 of these games. I think I'm good, man.
Only 3, Tony? What the hell, man?
Well, I mean, here's the thing. It seems like it's an amalgam of all of their titles.
Yeah.
Where there's
some sneaking right now.
Yeah, it has that stuff from Sekiro where now you can jump. You have the new aspect of the open world. So it's like now they're doing a fully realized world, for one of their games, as opposed to essentially sections of a game that you can kind of skip to.
The world is your dungeon.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm more enticed by this than I would be by a Dark Souls game, just because I don't know. I'm not a huge fan of those claustrophobic kind of worlds. It feels like it's like a 3D Diablo game with I don't know. It's weird. It's hard to describe for me, but I don't know. I just feel like the world and the magic. Also, you're seeing the magic. I've never seen this in any of the games. Like this looks way better than how magic was used before.
Yeah, he has all kinds of crazy.
The single player, no co-op.
No, there's co-op.
Because it looks like it would be kind of cool if it was co-op.
Yeah, it's co-op.
We just jump in.
No, it's got co-op in it where there's one point where they meet up. Again, I can't see what's.
Well, right now they showed a little bit of Adam. Like those people that are just kind of red. Those are other players.
Oh, those other players.
You can have.
I saw doing magic, killing some monster.
Yeah. You could play this co-op.
Yeah. Right, so I mean, it's I don't know how long.
That would kill you in the other games. So drop like that.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I know that. Right, Chris?
Oh.
Yeah, now it seems like you can jump off of something and not get injured off of high jumps.
I wonder if there's stamina in this game.
Like the real world.
I really feel like they married Dark Souls and Sekiro together for this game. Because that's really what it feels like. Like some of the bosses remind me of Sekiro bosses.
Yeah.
The stealth reminds me of it. Some of the environments, some of the way they fight, but a lot of it, like 80% of it, just looks like Dark Souls.
It really
looks
does.
like what Tony said.
Oh, there's a skeleton. There you go.
This right here in the.
This is hardcore Dark Souls right now.
This is.
Yeah,
Dark
there's
Souls.
also
There
like.
we go.
Oh
There we
yeah,
go.
look, trap rooms
Traps, yeah.
with like
there's-
guillotines coming down and shit.
There's
Yeah,
also
same
like
thing.
like what they're also talking about is like there's also hidden dungeons within the game. So in other words, like instead of it just being one big level, you can find all these other levels hidden throughout the game. So
Like
like
Valhalla.
huh?
Valhalla, Vikings. Remember there were some of these where you go in these tunnels and next you know you're going down. There's all these different paths and
Yeah.
See, Adam, that
So-
red person, that's another player.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, he's like I think he leads them into the different locations there. He does the little bow thing.
Yeah,
that
he
they
did a
do.
little bow, then he did a little dance. Yeah, no, but yeah, it just looks like more of the same to me.
It's more. It's like it's. I just look at it like I just look at it as like open world.
Yeah,
From software game. So it's the next eventual level of one of these games. But again, I do have to say it's fairly surprising how quickly they made this game. Though.
yeah,
You're making a whole open world, and apparently I think there's multiple open worlds in this game, from what I've heard. So like this crazy area that you're in right now there's another at least two I've heard that there's another two open worlds in there.
yeah,
Who's this?
Interesting.
Ailwin?
yeah, right. So woman just took off her hood.
I'm sure
Just took
there'll
a
be
shower.
there'll be parallels to things in the dark,
Yeah.
Demon Souls and Dark Souls. Like with the bonfire theme, there was always like a firekeeper, a shrine maiden, all that
That was
stuff.
cool, big ass castle.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Like we haven't seen those before.
Yeah, exactly. But look at this gate right here. Like,
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah,
it's like
Lord.
100% Dark Souls.
yeah.
So yeah, that's that one. It gives you the choice of two ways to go in. So the guy he talks to that one guy over there, and the guy's like, so you can sneak in through the back, or you could go in through the front gate. But I don't suggest you go into the front gate because they'll kill you.
That's what
But-
she said.
But
Yeah.
then he's like, then the character doesn't trust him, and he goes through the front gate, and he starts getting stabbed with a bunch of arrows.
Yeah,
So
can't
then
do that.
he decides.
Does this
to
have
go around.
permadeath? Does this have the permadeath and all that?
I mean, I'm sure it has the same old shit where you got like you die and you got to pick up your purse.
You gotta pick up your souls. Yeah,
I don't know if it's souls in this one. Maybe it's something else.
it could be rings.
Rings.
You know?
I lost my rings.
I lost my ring. I don't know why he's Mario all of a sudden. It's Sonic. I should be losing his rings.
Well, I call this at least from what I called it first. I call it what is it? Breath of Souls.
Breath of
Breath
Souls.
of Souls.
Breath of Souls.
Yeah. So this is coming out February, like every other game on Earth.
Yeah, February 22nd.
Oh man.
It got delayed, right? But was it delayed to February?
Yeah, it
or
was delayed
Yeah,
to
it was
February.
delayed to February.
Yeah, it was delayed to February. Yeah.
Oh, dirt!
Oh, my man got messed up. Oh.
Run!
That's hardcore
Use this
souls
flash.
right there.
What's this
Oh,
for?
look, he drank Estus.
See?
Got Estus flask.
Oh, look, the
He healed
little
the family.
soul there. Yeah. Look, Chris, come on, look at this shit right here, man. That's
Oh.
hardcore fucking Dark Souls right there, Demon Souls.
Yeah, look, he's weapon switching.
Mm-hmm.
Yo, look how I don't know if this is in Souls, but look how that dude. I'm gonna rewind back. Look how he runs out out of
Yeah.
that gate. Like, check this out. It just looks so natural.
Yeah, but that's also Soul Sisters because they love doing that shit. You saw how that guy was just hiding in the shadows, right?
Shadows,
Then he comes
right,
in the
yeah.
last minute. Yeah, that's total Dark Souls shit right there.
Oh, dirt!
Yeah, look at this. I'm like, this is like Demon Souls remix right now. But I'm wondering, like, is the game going to be like as brutally difficult as before? And the reason I asked that specifically is because, like, if you're playing an open world game and you're getting constantly killed, you're not going to make a lot of headway, you know? Like, I can
true.
understand, like, in a closed environment, you keep dying. It's like, okay, let me keep trying to find the best way. But open world, I don't know, man. Because open world to me seems like you want to explore more, but like, do you really want to explore this shit? Like, get killed? You know? I don't know, man. Imagine you explore for 3 hours, you get killed, and then it's like you lose everything. I mean, it's probably not gonna be that bad, but you never know.
Go ahead. I wonder, is just the whole Breath of the Wild just like the traversing through? Is that because I've seen a lot of those comparisons?
Yeah, I also want to say there is no comparison. The only comparison I see between Breath of the Wild is like, this is a video game like Breath of the Wild. Like, what are people seeing? You know, what are people actually? No. I know what
the lighting.
The lighting is because this looks better. Nah, but no, then again, Breath of the Wild literally inspired every single video game on Earth. So maybe that's why.
It was the first game ever made, but yeah.
that game was so inspirational. It actually like broke time and actually influenced games that came out before it.
We wouldn't have Call of Duty if it wasn't
exactly.
Breath of the Wild.
Yeah, Breath of the Wild
that combat system.
Yeah, it's the new Rise Son of Rome. You know.
Yeah, Rise is the originator.
But, you're right, Chris. I don't see any Breath of the Wild at all in this. I don't know what the hell people are talking about. Anyway, do we have any thoughts on this overall? Or last thoughts, I guess?
I mean, I played for sure, but this looks like just beefed up Dark Souls.
Yeah.
You know? They just took, like, hey, let's take some mechanics from Sekiro. He can jump now. He can do stealth. There's some other stuff. Like, lightning was a big part of Sekiro also. I don't know why in boss fights there's lightning shooting everywhere and stuff, but they took those effects and put in this game. And then they're like, oh, let's open it up. So now you can traverse everywhere you go. But everything else, the fight mechanics, the feel of the game, it looks like Dark Souls.
It really does.
Just bigger. Just much bigger.
It's a pass for me.
It's a pass. I mean, I'll probably play, but we'll see. I'm again watching this thing. I'm not that enthused anymore. Because it just looks, like you said, it is bigger or whatever. And I'm not saying the game's going to be whack, but it's like, it's more of the same, you know? It really is.
Yeah.
And I'll be honest, too, the open world aspect is kind of a turn off, too. I kind of like the fact that these games are more linear and like the levels kind of, they were intricately made. Now it's just, okay, big open world and that's it, you know? I don't know. But we'll see.
I think the intricate part is when you get into the actual dungeons and castles.
No, but you know what I mean? I mean in the sense like you're going through a dungeon and it's like, oh, I linked it back to this other place. Like doing that in an open world, it's possible, obviously, but I don't know if it's going to be to that same degree.
I think it's going to be like within those same levels. Like in other words, like if you took the castle, that whole area from the two area, a couple of the areas in Demon Souls, and you could actually walk to those different castles as opposed to essentially just being transported through there through some Arkstone, stuff, right?
Yeah.
So my guess is that's the way this game sort of works, where it's still the level, the actual castles and levels sort of flip around on themselves. It's the same sort of design, but now there's a world outside of the castle gates.
Yeah. All right, I guess we'll have to see then.
Order!
Uh-oh.
Yeah, big tornado attack.
Oh yeah, you're fighting that guy with the dragon arm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. So you could summon your own
Excalibur.
Hey, summon the monster or something.
Summon a monster. Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah. So what you can do in there is that you can also summon like different spirits of different monsters you've killed. So you can you see like giant skeletons or other kinds of other monsters, and I think they said there's a certain amount of them you can kind of summon. So essentially, kind of like what Brett was talking about when he was playing the Necromancer in Diablo, where essentially he made up all these different skeletons and different things that would come.
Yeah.
So you can kind of do that sort of stuff too.
I wonder if they got rid of stamina in here, because Sekiro didn't have to worry about that.
Right, there we go. That's
You're welcome.
I mean, he's just fighting. He's just running and dodging, and I don't see this guy getting tired.
Yeah, exactly. So hopefully they got rid of stamina, because that's always annoying.
Yeah, I mean, it seemed. I mean, yeah. Granted, they don't have the HUD sitting on there, but yeah, it seems like he's just endlessly running all over the place and rolling and flipping and and hitting and stuff. So maybe they got rid of that part of it.
Hopefully.
I mean, that's Sekiro. You didn't have to worry about that shit. So I think they just got rid of it.
Yeah.
We need to ask George.
Yeah, right.
By the way,
George
was
Costanza.
that your idea? That's his
George
contribution. He's
Costanza.
thinking, get rid of the stamina.
Yeah, get rid of stamina.
So just to clear some things, I don't know if they've been cleared by what's it called from software, but do we know how many people at a time can play co-op?
Yeah,
we don't know. I mean,
know.
Other games have been like 3, but maybe this has more. We don't know. If anybody in the chat wants to let us know, please do. But I don't know.
The most that they said, at least in this trailer, is that the usual things that you would find in there are going to be in it. So
yeah. Oh, Ace Ali says 4. He says he thought they said 4. We'll look into that.
One of the things I always wanted was don't send people summons away once you kill the boss, right?
Yeah, please.
If you want to hang with your boys through a whole area, right? As soon as you kill the boss, they're gone. You got to resummon them all over again. Go through that shit every single time. It's like, can you please just keep them there?
That would be even more cumbersome in an open world, doing that.
Yeah, definitely.
So, and then, like, can we stop with the whole, like, leaving signs on the ground? It's like, can they just materialize wherever you are,
Yeah.
It's like, come on, streamline that shit, please, because it's still clunky.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, man, that was good. So we'll move on to the next topic. Chris, get ready for this one, man. Nintendo to make 20% fewer Switch consoles due to the chip shortage. Oh boy. We saw this one coming because Chris, remember, I think you said this last year too, how their projections were lower for this year.
Yes, I noticed in their fiscal projections, usually in corporations, when they do their financial report, they usually will project what their earnings will be for next year. It's like based on certain factors, they can make a prediction whether they think they'll do better or worse or the same. And Nintendo actually said they would do a little worse.
Yeah.
Like, oh, that's interesting. I wonder why. I mean, maybe they anticipated this. Maybe they knew ahead of time. But here's the thing, like, this news compounds on all the other things that we know that have been affecting them and that have been hitting their stock prices, right? So, the Bloomberg article, she tried to counter the Switch Pro that's coming, and they tried to counter it. That doesn't look good. They've had investors leaving. We talked about earlier, and Carlos knows who that is. I posted a thing about ARKK, and I forgot the lady who invests in
Kathy
innovation.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Yeah. So I mean, she sold 5 million shares. She had 5 million shares of Nintendo. She dropped it. She dropped it. It's like it's nothing. She's they're not seeming to do anything innovative, right? They're just doing more of the same. That big denial coming out and denying Bloomberg that they were going to do a 4K system. That was probably a huge mistake because she sold out. Sold off her shares, and then on top of that, now
that's a huge red flag right there when someone sells so many.
5 million.
That's ridiculous.
There was a couple of analysts I read in I think it was either Business Insider or Financial Times said that they see lower projected sales for Nintendo through 2024.
Wow!
Right, so these guys were going way out and saying that if they look at everything at face value, that there's no way they're going to have they're just going to keep losing sales year over year for the next 3 years. So I mean, it's like, and then so you had that, which these are the papers that investors read, right? Investors read Business Insider, Ford, and Financial Times, and they look at that. Now, that's why the stock prices are taking a hit. And then so come now to, okay, what are they coming out for holiday? A remake of Diamond and Pearl, and whatever the other Pokemon Legends. That's pretty much it for the holiday.
Yeah.
No Zelda news. We don't know when Breath of the Wild 2 is coming out. That would be at least something. They should have tried to push it for holiday, but they don't have it. And then the denial of the Switch Pro, and now they come to find out that, hey, we're not gonna have enough systems. Production's hit because of the chip shortage. It's just one thing after another. But this is not surprising, right? The chip shortage all around, everybody's having problems. Can't find an Nvidia card, can't find an Xbox, can't find anything. You can't you can barely buy a new car.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
you're right about
Shortage,
that. There's a bunch of Ford cars and it's still in the parking lot. Chris, we got a question for you, man.
Oh, yeah.
From Mr. Logic Wins. He goes, Chris, is it because the Tegra X1 is being discontinued and they don't have enough chips to meet their projections?
Well, that's possible. I know their version of the X1 was custom, so it's possible they were fabricating it separately. But here's the thing: like they would have needed, and this is why I said I thought the Switch Pro was going to launch if Rona didn't happen, right? An ideal world, there was no Rona. It would have had a quiet rollout of OLED normal switches, right? To finish off that line. The Switch would have just had an OLED screen and a non-retarded kickstand. And
Mm-hmm.
the Switch Pro would have been out at the same time with an OLED screen, but 4K support and a new Tegra chip or custom chip, whatever they were going to do with the SoC in that one, right? 4K support. That didn't happen, and now we know studios are developing 4K games for them, and there's no system, right? But the dock supports for all the signs are there that this was supposed to be, and it just hasn't happened yet. So it's very possible what you're saying that yeah that everybody's having a chip shortage, so I don't think it's just the discontinuation of the X1. I think they probably could fab it themselves since it's a custom SoC. They could fab it themselves. I think there's just everybody suffering from supply shortages because everyone, car manufacturers, Microsoft, Sony, everybody, Nvidia, AMD, everybody's suffering from this. So I don't think it's because of that, you know.
Yeah. But it is interesting to note that, like, Sony didn't lower their projections for the following year, you know?
No, well, here's the thing too. I don't know what else is going on in Nintendo because their software cycle it is puzzling. Like how they do not have more stuff in their pipeline and they have this big mystery and they've been very, very tight-lipped about releases. There's been a lack of Nintendo Directs. Like
Yeah.
the time between them was huge, right? And you would think like, okay, Sony, Microsoft, everybody else, even though Microsoft has acquired a bunch of studios, everybody has got something in the pipeline. Sony has plenty of first-party stuff in the pipeline. There's plenty of third-party stuff happening. And then here's Nintendo, and they're like, oh, holiday 2021, we got a remake of a Pokemon game, which had to be outsourced, right? And so far, the fan reaction hasn't been good. And then they have Game Freak's working on this kind of side story, this Pokemon Legends game, and that's your holiday title 2021.
Hmm.
That's kind of weak.
Yeah.
Uh, and it's like, so where's yeah, so we finally got the answer to Bayonetta 3. They finally announced that. That's they only announced that game 5 years ago. We still don't know where the Metroid Prime 4 is. It's like Breath of the Wild 2 just has a release of 2022. So I assumed it would launch before the end of their fiscal report. Now I don't even know. Now with all this news, I don't know if that's gonna happen anymore. New Mario game, I don't know. It's like I don't know what's going on with them. Outside of the hardware, I don't understand their development cycle. I don't know what's going on. Everybody else doesn't seem to be having a problem. They seem to be having problems all over the place. And then in the on top of all their other bad news, then they make the insane decision with this expansion pack to Nintendo Switch Online to jack up the annual cost by $30. Everybody has been tearing it a new one. I watched a guy show gameplay of Ocarina of Time running on there. It has input lag that makes it almost unplayable.
Wow.
And I didn't realize this, but they implemented this in the worst way possible. Instead of having the ROM installed on your game with some kind of uh, authentication to show like, hey, you paid for it. You know how everybody else does it, right?
Yeah.
Like how Sony does it, Microsoft. You install the game, it has a key. The key is tied to your account. When you sign in over the network, it authenticates and knows, and you play it, and it's installed on your machine. That's not how Nintendo does it. The game is streamed to you.
What?
It's not installed. All of these games, all these ROMs are
Wow.
streamed. So they have horrible input lag. They said that Star Fox 64 is a mess. Also, whatever they're using for emulation is broken because a lot of the fog effects are gone. Some of the stuff doesn't work right. Like it's just ridiculous. And then somebody broke the metadata for the pack, and there's supposed to be 38 games in the library. Obviously, they didn't launch them all yet. But if they have problems with the stuff that they just launched with, the other stuff is like sequels to things like Majora's Mask. How if Ocarina of Time is broken, that game is going to be broken too.
Yeah, they're all going to be. I didn't realize they were streamed. That's terrible. Wow.
Yeah, it is.
Man, Nintendo, man, very perplexing company, you know. But yeah,
Chris, you forgot you're talking about Kathy Wood and Ark Invest
Yes,
selling all
yes.
Nintendo stock. You forgot an even more important person that sold it.
Uh-oh. Is that
Me.
you?
Carlos, you know.
He
Oh, man,
bailed out. Carl's bailed out.
I was telling these guys in the Throwdown chat. I'm like, yo, as soon as I sold my Nintendo stock, my whole portfolio went to freaking the moon. I'm like, oh shit, it was a sign, man.
Dragging
It
you
was
back, man.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, I didn't have that much invested in it, but
That's a sign, man.
yeah, it's crazy.
sign.
But yeah, it's with Nintendo. Speaking about their stock, they're year over year, they're down 22%.
Yeah.
And this is, from November 2020. And you'd be lucky. The stock market has gone insane the last year since the Rona started. You'd be hard pressed to find a stock that's gone down in value that's this big of a company in the past year. And somehow Nintendo's found a way to do it, even with Switch sales still being consistently good, and with everything else. But they don't excite anyone anymore, in terms of investors. So when they, like Chris mentioned, they blew up that Bloomberg report, and it's like, oh no, we're not doing this. It's like, well, why don't you do this?
Yeah.
Everyone knows it's something that will incite not only the fan base, which is the most important part, but the investors that are making you a more valuable company.
That was a huge strategic mistake. Was trying to deny the Bloomberg report. So the problem is like we're in 2021, and their thinking is back in '97, and they still have the mentality of a 1980s toy company. It's you have to read the room and see that, hey, investors are scared. They think we got nothing coming down the pipe. It's already the cat's out of the bag that we're doing a 4K system. So you kind of couch it and say, hey, we're working on something exciting. Don't have a release date yet or whatever. But what we do have, and you can talk about the Switch OLED and whatever, but don't flat out deny that you have a 4K system coming, because people are just going to call you out, because the Bloomberg report they never retracted it. They stuck by it. Those studios already said that they're making 4K games for you. So either they're all lying or you're lying, right? So people are going to bet on that you're lying, and that does not look good.
Why are you lying?
Yeah,
You
exactly.
lying, you lying.
Especially when it comes to investors. If they can't trust you to give a public statement like that, how are they going to trust you in anything else, right? So that was a ridiculously bad move. On top of all the other stuff, like I've railed on. I thought that the Switch Online expansion pack was ridiculous, and the internet has proved that out. Like that their announcement of it is ratio to shit on YouTube. Fans are pissed. People are dissecting the games and saying that they suck. That it's the worst experience of N64 ever is playing that version.
Damn.
And the pricing, and then the fact that you're locking wireless controllers, like the N64 wireless controller and the Genesis wireless controller is locked behind the fact that you have to subscribe to this before you can even order it, right? How do you not sell a product if you're not subscribed to? Can you imagine Sony doing that? Well, you can't buy the Pulse headset unless you have PlayStation Plus, right?
You imagine that
shit? They did that with the NES controller too. Remember?
Yeah, Nintendo, man, I'm telling you, dude.
Yeah. So all these ridiculous things just add up, and investors read things. They understand, like they're paying attention to the internet. Plus, these more financial publications have tech people in there, and they're writing this stuff, and they read it, and they go, "Hey, what are you doing? Well, I'm investing in this. If you're not going to catch up with the times, everybody has a 4K TV, and you don't support this. Why not?" It's like, well, we have no plans to. I guess, well, I have no plans to keep my money here.
Yeah, no, you're right about that, because if they would have like confirmed, like, yeah, we got a 4K system, the fucking the value of the stock would have went up right away.
Yeah.
You know, because they know, oh shit, when this thing comes out, people are gonna be buying these things. But you know, Nintendo's got to be Nintendo. You know, doing
the investors would have been
backwards.
The investors would have been like us. It's like, imagine when this comes out.
Yeah, exactly. My TV? Yeah, man. Oh, yeah, Nintendo. But you're right. When the fans turn against them, that's how you know things are bad, because usually they defend everything they do, you know? Yes. I bet you Triforce ain't defending this, you know? Whatever happened to Triforce? We don't see that dude around no more, man. Triforce Johnson?
He probably sold his Nintendo stock as well.
Maybe.
Oh, shit.
He's
called Game Pass Johnson now?
Yeah, Game Pass Johnson. Oh, man. All right, so Nintendo. All right, man. Move on to the next topic. Oh, so this was not what people expected. So Microsoft and Sega announced that they're, doing something together, right? First thing people thought, oh, that's it. Microsoft's buying Sega. Let's go. We're not going to go over it again, but Chris has explained many times why that will not happen. But no, it turns out to be exactly what we said was going to happen on Throwdown. It's a partnership of sorts. But here's the interesting part. It's an alliance for Azure. So I'm like, okay, so this is going to be streaming games then of some kind. You know, remember Sony also uses the
Azure games, Super Games, or something like that.
Yeah.
Yes. Sony has a deal with Azure too. So
exactly. Because people thought, oh, that's it. They're going exclusive. Let's go. It's like no. It's a partnership. We obviously don't know what this all means, but it could be tied with the whole Microsoft going over to Japan like last year, or before the Rona happened. But I don't know. Like the more I looked into this, like because everybody was like initially hyped, I'm like, it's really kind of a non-story, especially if it's like just streaming games. Like the only thing I could think of is like, and again, this is just total speculation. It's probably not even what's going to happen. The only thing I could think of was like maybe there's going to be like a Sega channel. They're going to bring that back from the dead, and it's going to use Azure. That's the only thing I can think of, because there's already Sega games on Xbox Game Pass, I'm assuming. So, yeah, they had Streets of Rage, right? Streets of Rage 4. So, so I don't think it's that. I believe they said something about an exclusive game, but who knows what's going to happen. So yeah, I don't know. Like I said, I kind of feel it's a non-story. What about the rest of you guys?
Yeah, I don't think it's much of anything, because they could leverage. Remember, anybody can use Azure, right? It's a cloud service. So if Sega offers a product through that, it's just that Microsoft is facilitating this product to exist, right? Yeah. If it's a streaming game, and maybe they're leveraging it to say like, hey, you don't need DLC or anything. We're just gonna keep developing and pushing updates to this game, and you'll get those things, right? If you buy it. And then Sega could then say, hey, since it's streaming, it could go to any platform. It could be on PC or whatever. You don't have to download a separate thing. We don't have to develop it. Maybe Azure is also leveraging, like, maybe they're running VMs to run the processing, so the game is sort of like on live, and then you don't really need to run it on your console. It runs, so the Switch wouldn't have performance issues, and you play it on your PS5, you play it wherever you want. It could be something like that. And then so Microsoft is offering it, but those part of that, the revenue stream would go to Microsoft. And then so Microsoft doesn't care what platform you play it on. It doesn't have to be on Xbox, right? It could be anywhere.
Yeah. Yeah, like again, I'm reading the some of the stuff from the press release. It's like, Okay. They used to, some buzzwords here. Global online community, IP utilization. It's like, okay, whatever.
There's really three big players in this space right now. It's Microsoft and Azure, it's Google, and it's AWS, Amazon.
Yeah.
So they're essentially just choosing out of three companies that to provide their web services for whatever, maybe it's a cloud gaming service or something. But yeah, they're choosing one out of three. They chose Microsoft. Sony's done the same thing. So it doesn't really mean much of anything in regards to games and having exclusivity deals or anything of that matter. Yeah, so like Chris mentioned, it's not really that big of a deal.
It's not really not. Again, like when this thing first popped off, everybody was so excited, but it's like, yo, read what it says. There's really nothing going on here.
Mm-hmm.
Like they said they're exploring the possibilities. Like that's not definitive.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Oh, that's it. Persona exclusive to
that's it. It's coming. Yeah, let's do like other gaming podcasts and just speculate to high hell. By the way, real quick side notes, Carlos, since you brought it up, New World, bro, the Amazon game, right?
Oh yeah.
So when this fucking game came out, everybody was like, "Oh, that's it. Move over Final Fantasy 14. This is the hot shit." No one's playing this fucking game anymore. I think they lost like 500,000 players or something. It's like, wow.
Holy shit.
Yeah, it's like, wow, it just went pew. I mean, there's other issues with games like, what I understand is like unplayable in certain cases. You need like a really beefy PC, and then there's like glitches or bugs or, the usual type of stuff. But I think it was one of those games that was just like carried by the hype, and then when people saw it, it's like, whatever, they just dropped off, So Amazon, I don't know, man, this is going to be another failure. What was that other game? I forget the name of the game, but it's like, I reviewed this shit, and then literally a week later, my review was basically pointless because they removed half the content, and then like a month after that, the game was done, It's like, wow, we're gonna have another one of those situations.
Damn.
And again, look at the type of games they're doing. All these online games. Service games. Oh, by the way, I didn't have this in the show notes. Maybe we could talk about it. We'll talk about it now, man.
We're doing it live.
Yeah, we're doing. Actually, wait, is it in the show notes? Hold on.
Oh,
yes, it is. We'll talk about it later. It's not in the show notes directly, but it's related to it. But yeah, so we have the Sega news. I mean, it's interesting, but kind of a nothing burger.
Well, someone that needs to get into the Azure and their web services.
No, Nintendo.
Nintendo.
Yeah, Nintendo needs to get on that.
Their shitty
seriously
services, man.
Bullshit, Mr. Davis.
Bullshit.
Yeah. All right. So since it's a non-story, we'll move on to the next one. Adam, I'm glad you're here for this one, man.
Oh,
your favorite gaming company, man. Ubisoft.
I'm not soft.
Ubisoft. So, Ubisoft plans to make blockchain games and NFTs. Let's fucking go, right? Adam, how many Division NFTs you buying, man?
Go. A whole lot of 0. Damn, I don't need those pictures. You know how quick. Oh, that's hold on. Let me take a picture of that shit. There you go. NFT this shit. It's not my wallpaper.
All of this is, right? It's them securing their IPs in the space of NFT, because the one thing to know about NFT is that it's not bound by any sort of copyright law. So theoretically, if you have something available online, somebody can claim it as an original. So that's why a lot of these companies are supporting it. Not only that, because of the amount of money that you can earn off of these things.
The size.
It does not perform.
And the thing about it is like, like a lot of people who support this shit are like, oh no, they have a verification system. Oh, blah 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 blah. No, they have a verification system for people who actually register things to be sold. So theoretically, you can claim anything. And I've gone on there and I've saw copywritten, actual copywritten work that has been, that is owned by studios on there being sold as digital originals.
Even digital originals, yeah. Come on, bro.
Yeah, even tweets aren't fucking safe on there.
But the most important, the important part is who's selling it. Like if someone is selling, for example, Manny's original art, and he's like, "Hey, this is my NFT," then that's not gonna sell because the original creator is not selling it. Like there's really no use in buying Manny's NFT if Manny's not selling it. Because at the end of the day, you're not buying a JPEG. The JPEG already exists. You can download it. What you're buying is a digital asset, a piece of the blockchain that Manny's setting up, where he's selling his art. So if anybody like Kojima does it, you can only buy, and I guess that's part of the word. It's non-fungible. There's only one owner that can exist. So if Kojima releases his art in a blockchain, only one person can own a piece of art at a time, and it's verifiable. There can't be more than one.
Actually, there can be.
No, it's non-fungible.
The thing about it is that you can make multiples of anything. So you can
but there's only one.
You can just take like a good example is what is it the NFT that was made for Chadwick Boseman that the Academy Awards put out. Now that was a piece of stolen artwork. It was the original NFT was created using a 3D model that this person bought from an online store that was stolen from the original artist, and they were offering this as an NFT. And he said the only it can be used by anyone or whatever. So in other words, this means that you can just jigger together anything, any piece of garbage, doesn't even need to be, and you can call it a digital original.
When you buy an NFT, you're not buying a JPEG. You're
not buying a JPEG.
You're buying real estate in a digital space, and that digital space, it has an address, and that address is only allocated to one person.
The thing about it is that who's to say who's the original person? I just gave you a situation where somebody else's work was being resold. But it's they're reselling. How is this the original? Part of this thing was a reclaimed piece of 3D art, and the other half was another person putting together these other bits of 3D art that they put together. How is this? You know what I mean?
The person's not buying the art.
Who is the originator? Because there's more than one originator.
No, there's when you do an NFT, you're creating a space, a digital space that has a lot of addresses, a lot of tokens, and they're allocated to a single address. So when someone sells you, and it's like when Kojima does it, who is a huge ass name, he has his own blockchain, or he's paying for his own blockchain to do it. There's only one.
What I'm saying is, no one will worry about anybody ripping off Kojima because he's fucking Kojima. But I'm talking about everybody else. I'm talking about people like me who essentially put their work online, and essentially to have somebody on there just essentially just take whatever things that they want and then put it together. That doesn't go back to me. That goes to everybody. That goes whoever created that blockchain. So what do I have to do? Go out there and essentially create blockchains for every single piece of artwork that I've ever created? You understand?
No, it's because you're not like what you're selling. Like anyone can say, "Hey, I'm making an NFT of Tony Polanco." It doesn't mean anything. What you're selling is the real estate in the blockchain. You're not selling Tony Polanco the person.
By the way, I don't think you guys are on the same page at all. So I'm going to try to broker this right here, right? All right, first I'll explain to Carlos, and Manny, I'll explain it to you, right? Carlos is talking about. So Carlos, what he's saying is like whoever is selling that NFT may not have created that original work. Yes, the NFT, the token is original, but the work, the actual work itself is not original. They ripped it off. So theoretically, what Manny's worried about and what other artists are worried about is like somebody could take their original art, mess it around a little bit, make an NFT out of it. Yes, the NFT is original to the person that created the NFT, but they didn't create the actual artwork. That's the worry. Understand? And Manny,
Yes.
what Carlos is saying is basically it's like, the actual digital token, that is the original deal. Not the art itself, just the actual token itself. So I hope you guys could kind of see at least get on the same playing space. You guys are kind of having two different conversations here.
Yeah,
just so you know what the other is talking about.
But when someone like, let's say someone is selling a token of Manny's art, the market that it creates is only dependent on the person who's willing to pay on a token that has something to do with someone else's art. And I guess you can get that's a fine line that you can get within. And I mean, physically it happens more than anything. People can go to Comic Cons and sell counterfeit Manny's art and sell it there.
He's had it counterfeited plenty times online.
All this is just another space for work to be counterfeited or reclaimed. I say this is no better than the Orphan Works Act that the U.S. government was trying to put out. You know what that is, Carlos?
No, not an orphan.
The Orphan Works Act is essentially an act that says at anything that hasn't been claimed online. Let's say, for the sake of conversation, one of my pieces they removed my my signature from it, and essentially it's just been sitting online. That means the Orphan Works Act makes it legal for any company or any entity to claim a work that's just sitting online. If with the exception of that they were not able to contact the original creator. This was something that the government was trying to do. This officially is even worse than that because it's not anybody. It's not like companies or entities. They're just literally it's just people just taking shit that they see and putting creating an NFT from it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the problem. And it's a big problem because it's like, and that's what these companies are trying to do. They're trying to secure their properties. Why are people like Ubisoft? I mean, yeah, granted they also want to make the money off of it, but has every single one of these people like friggin' bands and different game companies? They've all been jumping in on this shit. It's because it's not only is it because it has the potential to make a lot of money, but at the same time, it also because this system, because there's no rules behind it. It subverts copyright law. So somebody can literally claim Spider-Man and create a Spider-Man NFT right now and make money off of it just before the plain fact that it is because it is a Spider-Man NFT, and Marvel Comics or Disney doesn't make anything off of that. And that's what they're trying to secure. So that they're the only source getting money off of these things instead of some rando online deciding, hey, look, I'm going to just take many of these different comic images and do it on there. And I have done searches on there, and I've seen copywritten work on there, and I've seen other artists' work on there too.
Yeah. As far as what Ubisoft is going to do, I'm going to just read it because I'm like, I don't understand half of this shit. Right. Okay. And the funny thing is like, because I thought it was like, oh, it's just me. Like because I've always been kind of proud. I'm like, yeah, I'm an old guy, but I understand technology. This shit, I'm like, I don't understand it. I'm like, I think I've hit that moment. Then I realized there's 20-year-olds that don't know what the fuck this shit is either. So it's not just me, So I'll read.
Granted.
I understand it. Again, I personally don't see the value. Like I saw, and I try to be nice to the guy, so I didn't say nothing. He was like, dude, check out this NBA NFT I bought, right? So it's this little GIF, and I'm like, I didn't reply to this. I'm trying to be nice. I was like, dude, I could just right click and save, and there I own it too. Granted, I know I don't own the digital token. I get that, but I'm just saying it's kind of like the whole trophies thing. It's valuable to some people, not valuable to others.
But so if you own it, let's say you own it, does that mean that you have the right to post it on your website and do those type of things? Can you do those? Can you share it around? And
that's a good question. Like if somebody bought like this basketball GIF, right? Like if I post it somewhere, Am I gonna get sued? Like it's so weird, man. I think I can't earn money off it.
You just own the token.
Yeah.
That's it. You can't do anything with it, like with that in particular, unless they clarify. Like you essentially you're the owner. So what you have the ability to do is for people to verify that you are the owner. Number one, and number two is you're able to trade it.
Yeah.
And essentially make money off of it, and which is the biggest. It's the most enticing thing currently with NFTs because obviously people want to make as much money as possible. So that's why it's blowing up. But I think what a lot of people don't realize is the possibilities that this this type of technology, and I'll say this right here, you can come back
Keep
5 years
real.
from now, and this is the future. Like this is going to be done with finance. This is going to be done with real estate. This is going to be done with almost every transaction that we do. This is how, because it's a verifiable way to identify the owner of something. So you can set up property, say, hey, the person who owns this token owns the house that it's at 111 548, Seeker Street or something. So like it's just more than that. You're like and Tony mentioned about why he doesn't like understand why it's valuable. Well, I think it's ununderstandable because it's more of a free market thing. It's only as worth as people are deciding to pay for
willing
it.
to invest in. If they're willing to put into it, then it gives it the value. Just like anything, why do we trust the dollar and all that? It's because we put the value of the currency.
Yeah, no, you're right about that. No, and then somebody explained it to me again. It's like, oh, imagine it's like, you buy this piece of art. It's like, it's yours. Like, yeah, but I could hold the piece of art in my hands. You know what I'm saying? So like owning a digital token, I'm like, what the fuck can I do with that? Like, yes, I understand it may raise in value or whatever. I could sell it. Cool. But I'm like, and again, I think it's just a personal, like, I personally don't see the value in that. I'm not, like, objectively, I see the value in it. Personally, I don't see the value in it. I'm like, that's stupid,
the only I think the only reason why any of this is even going anywhere is because so many people have gone putting money into it. If they just pull out of that,
it seems like it's a bunch of speculating. It feels like the big comic book boom of the '90s. Everybody was just invest.
That's exactly what it is. It's like essentially.
And look what happened with that.
So Manny, can you do that? Huh? Can you create your artwork? Like, what's the process for you to do that?
You can do that. You could take Manny's artwork right now.
You're not the boss.
But I'm saying you could take Manny's artwork right now, make your own NFTs, and make money off of his shit.
No, but let's say just to be registered, sure, what does he have to do? Like, is there like an official site? Like, what do you?
Well, you have to. There's I haven't done full research into it, but I know that what you have to do is you have to register the piece, whatever work that is supposed to be this token, and that's how it happens. Like that's how the verification system works. Where it's like, okay, they're essentially assuring that you're the original creator of this NFT and that this person bought it. And then any single time that this thing gets resold or whatever, it supposedly generates, you essentially make a portion off of that. So it's like the real world version of this is like, okay, let's say you got a comic signed by John Romita Jr., right? And then they paid X amount of money to get John Romita Jr. to do it. Then they sell it off on eBay. John Romita Jr. doesn't make any any additional money off of whenever that's resold, even though he originally signed it, was paid for it. The thing about Carlos is talking about is essentially there's a digital paper trail when these things have been stricken.
So, well, let's say, because Tony was like, "Oh yeah, you can do it, right?" So let's say if I grabbed your art, right, and then I went and I made an NFT, and you said, "Hey, no, that's mine." How do they go about verifying that first that I am the creator or that you're the creator? Is it just first come first serve? I created it first, so it's now mine.
Go ahead.
There's no first come first serve. It's anyone. It's the Wild West. So I can get Manny's original art. Say, hey, I'm releasing these tokens. It has this art, this art, this art, and I'm selling them in highest bid or whatever. So you can do all of that. I think there's a fine line between that and the copyright measures, because I don't think it infringes on copyright at the moment. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, that's because there's no again, that's what I was saying, where it's essentially it essentially infringes on the copyrights of the original creators. So again, you can take pretty much that's why they're drawing the line in the sand, all these companies, essentially, because they're securing their original properties.
Mm-hmm.
Because they want to be able to make money off of the further sales or whatever of it. And this happened with DC. In fact, that's part of what DC, part of our contracts we signed. This was openly put out pretty recently, where they say that you can't do any of this stuff, like in other words selling off your digital originals, which is the pages that cut books or anything like that, and that they can do certain things with the works that you have created. So there you go.
Yo, a part of me wants to be evil right now, because I'm looking. There's literally YouTube videos showing you how to do this stuff, right? I literally, Manny, I'm not going to do this, but it's like I would ask you permission. Hey, Manny, I'm going to take one of your works and I'm going to make an NFT and then make money off it to prove a point. You know what I'm saying? That somebody could just steal your shit.
Well, here's the thing. I mean, like, the thing about it, that I always say this about when you do artwork in general and put it online. There is nothing stopping. Once you put something online, you have lost all control of your work. So you have to be safe mentally to know that the minute this touches the internet, it's going to be all over the place, and it's going to lose all context and all relation to you.
Yeah.
I found my stuff on all kinds of different places. I found my stuff on eBay. I found my stuff on Redbubble, that site that sells those metal plate artworks.
Shirts.
Yeah, with those shirt places all over the internet. And the one thing about it is, some of those places are even more difficult to get your work pulled off of, because you don't, like, especially if you're doing fan art, which is also legal, by the way. If you're doing fan art, the thing is you have to be the original copyright holder in order to be able to claim the work. Even though I, as the creator of the original work, I have control over its usage. I have control over its usage rights. I just can't put it out there or supposedly make money off of it.
It's crazy.
So, yeah.
Hey, remember, we got hit with that copyright over that money many, many moons ago.
With the Gears of War, right?
Yeah.
And Tony,
what's up, bro?
That was the Gears of War. Yeah, the Gears of War money thing was a situation like that, because again, people don't want to believe this, but essentially drawing fan art or doing fan art of your favorite characters is incredibly illegal, and the only reason why big companies don't come down on you
is free advertising.
It's free because it's free advertising. But then there's places like Japan. And Japan has very brutal copyright laws when it comes to their own content. So with me and Adam, I made him a toy. I made him the Gears of War money, which is essentially a customizable figure. And I got a cease and desist from Epic Games because they thought I was manufacturing products.
Yeah,
I wasn't the only one that got one either. Essentially, people just painting stuff on their ceilings, making those little, not little, but making the chainsaw gun and all that stuff. They all got hit with cease and desist.
Yeah, Carlos, what's up?
Yeah, and I guess with all that stuff, it's kind of difficult also to grasp, because, for example, if I wanted to sell Manny's art as an NFT, no one's gonna give a shit. At least when I'm selling it, because no one knows who the hell I am.
It depends on the work. If it's a recognizable work that somebody of a character or a franchise or something that people react to, it definitely has a better chance of making money off of it, as opposed to something like that. Because we're a bunch of unknowns, right? I'm known but not really known. And nobody knows who you are. But the same thing is that
not even my family, man.
I know who you are, Carlos. Respect. You the real Carlos.
Nobody outside of the public space in our podcast knows exactly who Carlos Romero is. In fact, we haven't even seen you.
Me and you saw him. What are you talking about? We saw him.
Just kicking the dirt on your grave, Carlos.
I'm the only one.
Nobody knows what Carlos looks like.
That's not even his real
Man,
name.
you and I hang out with him. What are you talking about?
I know, but nobody watching right now knows who fucking Carlos looks like.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Get it?
So
he looks like Pipaporu,
anyway.
you know?
Yeah, he knows. They know he looks like a.
See, people said in the comments Pipaporu.
But anyway, so yeah, so the thing about it is like, yeah, we're a bunch of unknowns, but what if we had something that was known? And that could be something that could hit. That could either be a really famous tweet that somebody throws out, or it could be some again, a famous character somebody recognizes. Even something like, some piece of artwork that looks really interesting has the potential of doing something.
Yeah, so it's pretty dicey there, and that's why like Manny mentioned, all of these big companies are getting ahead of it because they know that there's profit to make of it, and they have to get on top of it before someone steals their thunder.
Yep.
And
by the way, you never even got to what Ubisoft is planning to do.
Oh yeah, what is you?
I don't want Division NFTs. Thanks for asking, Tony. No thanks.
I'm going to read this statement from Yves Guillemot, their CEO. He goes, "We consider blockchain one of those as you see, this industry is changing regularly with lots of new revolutions happening. We consider blockchains one of these revolutions. It will imply more play to earn that will enable more players to actually own content, and we think it's going to grow the industry quite a lot. So we have been working with lots of small companies going on the blockchain, and we're starting to have a good know-how on how we can impact the industry. We want to be one of the key players there, but I don't know what that means."
No, it just sounds like they're doing research into it, and they're looking to secure a position in there and seeing what ways that they can generate money. In other words, I think to quote Hip Hop Gamer, DLC.
Yeah, he's very excited about it. By the way, Hip Hop Gamer, he compared NFTs to PlayStation Home. I'm not making this up.
No, it's not PlayStation Home.
He says PlayStation Home.
It's just to give Adam an example of how this would work. I'm not trying to convince him that this is a good idea, but just how they would do it. It's like, let's say for example, the Division has NFTs, and you buy an NFT of Marcus Phoenix. So you'd be the only one in that game that can play as Marcus Phoenix in
Marcus Phoenix is in Gears of War, man.
It's a hypothetical. Like you'd be the only one that'd be able to play as Marcus Phoenix in the Division if the Division ever releases.
Now that would be cool. That'd be cool.
And you're the only one. No one else can do it because you're the one that is the owner of the address. And then there's someone else in the world that paid for Dom, and there's someone else that paid for Master Chief and whoever. And you're the only ones that own that character that could play it in that game. What's cool? What's the cool thing about it is you can keep playing as Marcus Phoenix. And let's say you pay $20 for it, but it's starting to blow up, and people are like, I want fucking Marcus Phoenix, man. I'll pay you $1 million. I'll pay you $1 million for him.
But don't you have to share? You only own a block, though. You can't really sell it for that amount. Doesn't everybody have to agree?
It's only you and the person making the transaction that have to agree.
Even if I don't own all of it, I only own a block.
No.
You either
own it or
that is
the blockchain is what you own, bro.
The blockchain is essentially the bookkeeper that says who owns what, which transactions were made, and for how much. That's essentially what it is. Like you can sell it, and I think that's way better than the traditional method. You're buying these microtransactions and they're freaking loot boxes and stuff, and after the game's over, that's it.
Yo, you don't need to attack my people, EA. Let's leave that for another segment.
Here's the interesting thing, though. Like, obviously this is also not a system that's thinking about the future and the future of whatever you own, because obviously Division and all this stuff is not going to be forever. So let's say you've only bought your Division skin of Marcus Phoenix for only Division 3.
Yeah.
that doesn't go up. That doesn't that doesn't
Won't
affect
go
any of the
over to the other ones.
It goes it doesn't go over to the previous the next editions of it. So essentially, it's sort of like a waste of money.
It is.
You wasted money essentially. Great, essentially maybe paying for a skin or something like that. This blockchain that essentially allows you to play this whatever this skin thing is. I mean, yeah, it's sort of after the fact. Once the dust is settled, it's like it doesn't matter anymore.
Yeah, it just depends on how they decide to implement it. I guess there's millions and millions of use cases for these kinds of things.
Yeah.
And I mean, and you brought up a good point earlier about how a lot of it trickles down to the original artist. It kind of negates the GameStop used game loophole kind of thing. Where,
because you can't resell. You can resell the thing again, but at the same time, Ubisoft still makes a percentage off of whenever it's gotten resold. So Marcus Phoenix skin gets sold over again like three other times, maybe for more money each subsequent time. At least they get money after the fact, as opposed to where GameStop, if they sell off a Division, a physical copy of Division over and over and over again, Ubisoft doesn't make any additional money off of that.
Right.
Yeah. All right, man.
That's why. Yeah. And that's why they implemented DLC, because they wanted those things. They wanted to continue to make money after the fact. If a game had gotten sold, by the used market.
Yeah. All right. I think we spent enough time on NFTs. Let's move on here. Next story. So it's finally happening.
Oh, who did it?
Spider-Man is coming to Avengers.
Oh shit!
Oh, wow.
Brian, get ready. You know what I'm going to ask, bro. My question is it too little, too late? And tying back in with what I kind of teased earlier, right? So, Square Enix also released their financials, and they said that they were disappointed with the the sales of Avengers, and they here's the you could read it both ways, right? But they kind of, because some people interpret it as like they threw Crystal Dynamics under the bus. Other people interpret it as they took responsibility. But either way, they said that Crystal Dynamics was not the right fit for that type of game. Take that how you will. I think that game in general is not what people wanted. As Guardians of the Galaxy is proving. People wanted out of Avengers.
To be honest, it's like Crystal Dynamics. It wasn't. Listen, if you got rid of all that bullshit loot boxes and all the other garbage that was in that game, and actually let Crystal Dynamics do what they do, which is make, single player games.
Yeah.
Yeah,
no, you're right.
Let them do that.
The story of Avengers, I'm not saying it's great, but there was something there. But even the actual gameplay, the things you do within the story, you could tell they're geared towards the multiplayer,
Yeah.
So, yeah, that was not good. Yeah, if you would have let Crystal Dynamics do their thing, it would have turned out better, Brian, how many people are playing Avengers right now on Steam?
135 people.
That's more than I thought.
Yeah, that's more than I thought, but so you're bringing Spider-Man. Does anybody care at this point?
No.
I think that shit's done. And I find go ahead.
Granted, I do think them announcing the Spider-Man thing is the break glass when needed sort of deal. Like, in other words, they hadn't said anything since the damn thing launched, when this supposed Spider-Man DLC was supposed to come out. Now all of a sudden, when they have that controversy with their loot system, right? Now all of a sudden, they're talking about the Spider-Man DLC.
Well, I think they're talking about it now because the sales have been disappointing. But again, they had the Wakanda shit that came out recently. They had other stuff, but nobody cared, man.
Yeah, they had the Wakanda shit, and then there was a little bit of a bump since it was on Game Pass. And so
it did. Yeah, they had a bump. Yeah.
They had a bump when it got onto Game Pass, and then that's when they reconfigured and gimped a bunch of the systems that they had before. They put out some sort of they put out some sort of new deal. Because they said, what was it? Their rhetoric. Oh, the game is too easy to traverse through, and players want more challenge or
something like that. Yeah, some bullshit.
Yeah, excuse the fact that they're essentially piecemealing a bunch of shit to make you pay for it.
Yeah, that was ridiculous. And then what's the other thing? Like they said they're not going to charge people for this specific thing. But you're right. They stopped charging you, but then they ramped up the grindy element.
Yeah.
So it's like, wait, what?
So that you would go because so that you would go and do it. Again, I feel.
But if there's nothing to buy, why ramp up the grindy element?
Yeah,
makes no sense.
Doesn't make any sense.
And again, I found that earlier statement very interesting. It's like, okay, whose fault is this? Let's just be real here. Let's just be real. Whose fault is this? You honestly think Crystal Dynamics said we're going to make a games as a service game? No.
They didn't say that.
You're good. You are going to make this type of game.
No, they're probably like, it would be great if this was that type of game. And then Crystal Dynamics, I guess they're being, when the big guy says, hey, maybe this should be this sort of game. Like, you look at all the way they even tried to sell this game to people. The gameplay that we saw from this game wasn't any of the shit that the grindy stuff that you do for the most part of that game. It was that fucking on rail shit from the beginning.
Yeah, exactly. No, you're 100% right. Again, I've told the story many, many times, but it just sticks with me till this day, man. I remember I previewed the game at Comic-Con, right? It was a room full of gaming journals, right? And this is how they structured it. We go into this one room and we're just playing the game. That intro, right? We're like, hey, this is okay. It's okay. Then they take us to another room, presentation room, where they had, I believe it was a director. He was, a little podium or whatever. As soon as this dude starts, with two screens on either side of him showing gameplay. As soon as they started talking about all that game service stuff, you just heard that collective groan in that room, man. Like all of us were like, "Oh shit!" Like I've never seen anything like that. It was hilarious.
Here we go.
Yeah, you could hear it like, oh man, yeah, it's a shame. It's a shame. It's Avengers, man. Like Marvel Cinematic Universe's biggest property, and squandered it. And this is why, even now, people are like, "Whoa, this Guardians of the Galaxy game is good," because they thought it was going to be another Avengers.
Yeah, that shit that Avenger games essentially made so many people have the stink in their mouth from that fucking last thing. They literally thought the new game that they were making was going to be the same shit over again.
Yeah, exactly. And I think about it when they showed the Guardians of the Galaxy reveal. Like even we were like, ugh. But then literally they all had to say was single player narrative driven game. We were sold. That's all we needed to hear, because again we were traumatized by Avengers, So yeah.
Wait, what did you just say?
I said your mama. That's what I said.
No, before that you said what? Single what?
Single player narrative driven.
That's the trigger word. That's the drinking game. Single player.
That's the secret word.
See how many people remember that shit,
Yeah.
Single player for life.
For life. Like, what'd you say, man? Single player? Narrative? Excuse me? Drink again. This course for you, man. That is course, right, Adam?
That is course.
Yeah, I can tell by the can.
I booze a lot.
I can tell by the can, Oh man, Avengers was a good movie franchise. They just made the wrong type of game.
Yeah.
What kind of game?
Man. A bullshit game.
Well, I mean, the one thing about it, like, everyone else, like, this is just with the games that are made outside of the the Insomniac games, but you notice that like so many of them are so married to whatever, like the familiarity of the films.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, Guardians is great, but at the same time, there's so much of it that is like, Star-Lord looks like an alternate version of Star-Lord from the movies.
Yeah, it's definitely inspired by the movies.
It's definitely inspired by the movies, but it would have been it stinks that they have to essentially invoke the movies in order to try to get sales when they could literally
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's like a trigger for the kids. That's the way I see it. They're like, oh, they're just trying to get the kids that are familiar with it.
Let's just be real, though, man. The reason Guardians of the Galaxy got popular is because of the movie.
Oh, yeah.
It is because of the movie.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, if they threw classic Guardians of the Galaxy into the game, they would probably be like, kids would be like, who the fuck are these guys? Who's this guy with the mohawk? Who's this crystal-looking dude? Who's this fucking tiger-looking guy? What?
Who's this Mexican Captain America? Remember that dude?
Yeah,
you know?
who's this guy? Why's he got Captain America's shield? Yeah, it would have been confusing for people. So obviously, yeah, you want to invoke that thing. But I do think it's cool, at least with the Spider-Man games, that Spider-Man is allowed to not look like Tom Holland or Tobey Maguire, you know, or his suit is supposed to look. His suit doesn't look anything like any of the other content, which is cool.
Yeah, I know for sure. You know, but again, Spider-Man's a little bit more recognizable. You could play fast and loose with him a little bit. He
wears a mask. If you have the webs and the mask, you're
That's
good.
It. Yeah.
But granted, it's funny though that first face, man, the first face that they had on them, it literally looked like an amalgam of Tobey Maguire, Tom Holland, and Andrew Garfield. Now they got this other.
Now they just got Tom Holland look-alike.
They got a guy. Yeah, now they got the Tom Holland look-alike.
Yeah. Video Games X Life says, I gotta say, I'm enjoying the shit out of Guardians. Yeah, it's awesome. It's a great game.
Yeah,
great series.
I wish I had more time to play it, but yeah.
I know, man.
Yeah, no, it's fantastic. Yes. Great series. Oh, by the way, Rich was not a fan of the Eternals. I just saw his tweet.
Oh, really?
He's not a fan. He says that he feels that he's like the backstories should have been their own miniseries. Oh man.
Oh, yo, Tony.
There's a.
I gotta ask you a question.
What up?
Because a little birdie told me that you're gonna watch a certain Marvel MCU movie that came out earlier this year, and possibly talk about it.
Oh yeah, I'll do that. Shang-Chi. I'll do that. I'll watch Eternals too when it comes to Disney Plus. You know, but yeah, I'm not trying to go to the theaters for that. You know. It doesn't seem like it's worth it. By the way, what's up with people pronouncing it Shang-Chi?
They make it up words.
Well,
Is that how they say it in the movie?
It's hipsters.
Yeah, it's the way they say it in the movie because they're trying to go with a more accurate, saying of it. You know, that sounds more Asian or Chinese.
I mean, I get that, but I'm like, wasn't Shang-Chi created by a white dude? Who probably just who probably just like, hey, that name sounds cool, Asian enough, you know.
Well, no, I mean all the names of the characters in Shang-Chi are essentially a Westerner's.
That's what I'm saying.
What Chinese names were. In fact, his friggin' dad was Fu Manchu, the fucking racist,
created by a British man.
It's not good.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm still going to call him Shang-Chi just because that's literally what I've called him for like my entire life. Yeah. But I think Shang-Chi sounds a little bit more authentic. I'm not against it. I think that's cool. But it's just something kind of, it's just like I had to get used to saying Ryu, you know? It's like, because we've been saying Ryu the entire time.
I'd say we've been saying Ryu, and before we even know what Magneto was selling.
Magneto, like, you know?
I called it
Magneto and it's Ryu. That's it.
Yeah. You know, there's another one that's like we say different.
Tony.
Mario. People call him Mario.
Or it's Mario. Another one, Ninja Gaiden. It's Ninja Gaiden. Or no, it's Ninja Gaiden. Ninja Gaiden is what we called it, but it's Ninja Gaiden. What's up, bro?
Aluminium.
There you go, man. So Sean. Yeah. Shang-Chi, I'm with it, man. So I'll watch it, but I'm not hyped for that either, to be honest. Like I could watch a million other kung fu movies instead, you know.
The only reason why I would want to see it, and I only found this out later, is that a bunch of Jackie Chan's guys choreographed the fight stuff.
Oh, that's cool.
In there. So I'm like, all right, so at least the fight shit'll be good.
Yeah, I'm at least interested in Eternals. I'll just watch it out of curiosity. I have no hype. At least Shang-Chi will probably have some cool fights, you know? It'll at least have that. Eternals is going to be, oh my God, I'm so blah, blah, whatever, you know?
Well, the interesting thing is, you know, Shang-Chi got really good reviews from the critics, but Eternals didn't.
It did not.
No, so even when the critics can't come behind the movie.
Yeah, even the critics, and they usually like Marvel movies. Let's keep it real here, you know.
Yeah, they're big fans.
So Man, I've seen some scathing fucking reviews, but we're not here talking about that. All right, let's end the show off on something a bit of a high note here. Talking about Marvel games. One of our favorite writers is actually going to be working on a Marvel game. Amy Hennig. Amy Hennig is working on a Marvel game. We don't know what it is. She got? We don't know. We don't know what it is yet. But
it's not jinx her because
I guess she's had
something. Everything gets canceled. So,
so hopefully this time, we can make it happen.
I mean, to be honest, man, I would have said give her Spider-Man because she's good with that banter,
dude.
Sort of.
This is a personal thing. I want to see Daredevil, please. Some dark stuff.
I mean, I think she could do some pretty good stuff with that.
Yeah.
I mean, she's doing. She's got the other game coming, though, the Square Enix game, right? She wrote that thing. The one with the one with Homegirl running around in Final Fantasy Land.
Oh, Forspoken? Did she work on that?
Yeah. Yeah. That's the one where we said she kind of talks a little bit too much.
Yeah. Or maybe it was. Oh, yeah, it was Amy Hennig. She's not the main writer, but she is one of the writers. Yeah. So again, we don't want to speculate on what it is, but I think it's cool. I just hope it actually sticks this time, because she keeps landing these projects and they just fall through.
Now, is this going to be her own game studio that's doing this shit, or is it just going to be she's just being called on to do some writing duties?
I think she's being called on. Square Enix, Skydance and New Media. Manny, do you recognize this company?
Skydance.
Yeah, it goes Skydance, New Media.
Skydance, the animation people. I mean, I think they have an interactive group, but I think it's the same company.
Huh?
Yeah, I don't know Skydance.
Yeah, I do know. Yeah, Skydance does CG.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, John Lasseter went over there.
Oh, okay.
Skydance and New Media.
But they have an interactive group. They worked on something else recently.
I love this corporate speak. She's like, I can't imagine a better partner than Skydance. I'm like, no one's ever heard of them,
I mean, yeah, I don't. Yeah, all I'm saying because what games have they done? Has Skydance ever done? Well, if it's a John Lasseter run company, or he's he's
part of
there,
it. Yeah.
I would suspect if it's going to be a Marvel game, it's not going to be a. I don't think it might be a top of the food chain Marvel game. I think it's going to be kind of a younger audience sort of a Marvel game.
Yeah,
that's my speculation because I just seem like, what type of films did Skydance CG do? Let's see, what kind of animations have they done? Yeah, they've done a bunch of young stuff. What do they call it? It looks like stuff like I don't know, maybe I'm wrong about this, but they did.
Never even heard of this game.
I've never heard of Skydance.
Archangel? What?
X-Men?
No, not X-Men. There's a game they did called Archangel, and it's
I never heard.
Looks like an Anthem with giant robots.
Oh.
No. And then they have Walking Dead. Saints and Sinners.
Oh, the VR game. Yeah, I previewed that. Yeah.
Okay.
They did that.
Okay. So now this is starting to make a little bit more sense. Isn't Amy Hennig's new company supposedly doing VR shit?
I don't know.
I guess.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, that would jive with this. That's the last thing they did.
Yeah. After the last game, she opened up a VR studio.
Yeah. So I think that's what.
It could be some VR game.
It might be a VR game, might be a VR game, and it might be a younger audience sort of game. So,
yeah. All right, so I guess we'll see, but again, we hope it actually comes out, please.
Yes.
Again, I'm not even that excited for whatever the game is. I just want her to actually get a hit.
Yeah, come on, man. Amy, come on, man. Well, she's got this really bad track record after whatever the hell happened at Naughty Dog happened. All of a sudden it seems like the industry is just afraid of just keeps on knocking down whatever the fuck she's doing. Same thing with Homegirl from Ubisoft. She just cannot get anything done.
Oh, Jade Raymond,
yeah. She's had at least 2 studios right now. Now it's the second game, second time's a charm, but let's hope that something comes out of this shit because come on. We're talking about we always talking about having different diverse voices within the industry. How come two of the most well-known women in the industry cannot even pull together a game? Like one game. Like either the company closes down their fucking studio or some other shit happens.
Yeah, no, you're right. Ain't that something, you know?
Well, it can come down to one of three things I think of. Either one, it's just bad luck on their part, which is possible. Mm-hmm. Again, maybe they are just the dot that's off the line, so they're the one who get all the bad luck. So they're just the unfortunate few. Or maybe they're just not that great at what they do.
Maybe they're difficult to work with.
It could be difficult to work with, yeah.
I mean, there could be option number three is that maybe certain people in the club don't like them.
Oh.
Again, I have no idea. These are just three options that I can think of.
Yeah, I think you named four, actually, Brian.
Bad luck, they're trash, or they don't like them in the club.
Oh, okay, and the fourth one is they're hard to work with. You know?
Oh, yeah.
All right, so yeah, no.
Well, I mean,
we don't know.
It could be any one of those things. But whenever Amy Hennig jumps on anything, as we always say, we wish her all the luck to whatever the fuck it is, and hope it's fucking good. Hope it gets her all the shit that she needs. Because come on, let's do this.
Yeah. All right, so I think we're done here. So let's do some plugging, man. Man, you go first.
Well, the usual stuff. I got Nubia and the Amazons #2 coming later this month. I'm probably going to be saying it until for the rest of the month until it comes out. And then also I'm going to be doing some extra lifing. So this weekend, I'm doing a late one, but if you remember, I did a podcast with Dave Wonder, and he asked me to be a part of his extra life stream. So me being Mr. Stay up late all the fucking time, I decided, you know what, I'm gonna take a late hour. So at early o'clock in the morning, I'm gonna be on Dave's channel, keeping him awake to do his extra life, charity stream. So. Make sure to head out to Dave Wonder on YouTube and Twitch, and check out what he's got. He's going to be doing games. He's going to be towing toys, all kinds of fun stuff.
Good stuff. All right, Adam, what you got?
What do I got? I've got a bunch of different articles and reviews over at the Coalition. Bunch of stuff going up there. We got some holiday guides coming next week. And to quote Richard Bailey Jr., editor-in-chief, it's going to be very controversial with some of the things they have to say. Some people are going to get upset, probably. I don't give a shit. That's just the way life is. And what else? It's just the way it is. Also, we got another episode of I Am Negan. That's the TD359 Universe podcast. Yep. We got it. That'll probably be up either tomorrow or Saturday, but probably tomorrow night we'll probably have it up. And that's there. Spotify, iTunes, YouTube's. So if you're into Walking Dead, everything Walking Dead except World Beyond, because we stopped talking about that shit. And so we in little pieces. Well, if it's relevant to Walking Dead proper and stuff, because they're doing some crossover, but there's only like 4 more episodes left, and the series is done and it's whack. So don't worry about it. That's it.
Yeah, and Carlos already kind of teased it. But we'll be doing a Shang-Chi spoiler cast next week because it's going to be available on Disney Plus. So it'll be relevant again. So we'll do that next week. I believe comes out on the 12th.
Comes on.
You know what? Yeah. You know what? I'll watch that thing too.
All right, so man, you can jump on.
Yeah, I'll watch that thing too.
I'll watch that thing too.
I'll watch that thing too.
There you go. All right, yeah.
Are you gonna watch that or Chang-Chi?
Chang-Chi. You mean Chachi? Isn't Chachi from Happy Days?
Hey,
Joni loves Chachi.
Yeah, that was a spinoff.
Yeah, that was a spinoff. Yeah. Oh man, that's crazy. All right, man, we are done here. So thank you for joining us, everybody in the chat. You guys are awesome. So make sure you follow Throwdown on Twitch and Twitter, and join the Discord where the rumors are always popping. Thanks to Mr. Mob Hits, man. Again, I don't know where he finds his stuff at, man. It's crazy. You can find Throwdown on any podcast app by searching for Throwdown. It's 2 words, Throwdown Show. Literally any podcast app you could think of, we are on there, man. And we are also on throwdownshow.com, which is our audio boom page. You can listen to previous episodes. And if you are on YouTube and you enjoyed the content, Make sure you hit like, subscribe, and hit the bell to be notified of when episodes of Throwdown and Throwdown clips go up. Links to everything down below. Once again, I was your host, Tony Polanco, and tonight I was joined by Emilio Lopez.
See you next time.
Chris Seeley.
Hey, take care, everyone.
Carlos Romero.
Peace out.
Adam Vale.
Long and prosper.
And Brian Majoma.
I've heard rumors that a certain Forever film was banned in certain places because of the way that people hold hands to quote.
Yeah, we'll leave it at that. But yeah, I saw that too, brother. Crazy. All right, people. See you next time. Later.
Laters.